everybody. Today is Wednesday, so today is craft demo day, and today I was going to make up a couple of Slimline cards. Wow, it says this video has been on for the last 3 minutes. I hope not. Anyway, I am going to work with two stamp sets today to make both a horizontal and a vertical card. These are all in Create stamps. I have a bunch of stuff on order. A bunch of companies are coming out with specifically Slimline dies and stamps and the like, and but I already have some that would work for this, so I pulled a couple out of the inventory for this. I just got a bunch more all in Create stuff. They'll go up on the website this week. So if you like their style, there's lots to choose from. I chose two from their line. This is very reminiscent of their style with the mixed media and the text and the beautiful imagery and all that. And then this is also what they do. They have nice florals, but they have this sort of super energetic, drawy style that I really like. So a Slimline card is one that is, it ends up being 8.5 by 3.5 inches, so it's very long and skinny. And you know, I'm old enough to remember when that meant there was money in your card. It doesn't really anymore. But I'm just going to demonstrate for you what it would look like just to fold that card, and then I will show you the, I'll go on from there to stamps. This, I'm using my scoreboard. This is the We Are Memory score and cutting board, just because it does both. And right now I'm using the cutting function, so I'm cutting a 8.5 and 11 piece of paper. This is actually cardstock. This is my 100-pound cardstock. So I cut that at 7 inches. It's already 8.5 inches long. And then I'm going to score it, and to change this over to the scoreboard, you want to take this little blue floppy thing and flip it over so it becomes the edge that you push your paper up against to then score it. And I'm going to score it at 3.5. Normally I would score towards myself. I didn't set that up very well. And then I'm just going to fold it down. So these are the dimensions of a Slimline card. As you can see, it's nice. It's a little gimmicky now to have like dies and things meant exclusively for this, but it does sort of open up the perspective and allow for long skinny images and long skinny dies and things like that. So it's kind of fun. So that's the dimension. I'm actually going to start with a piece of paper that is 3 1/4. So I'm going to trim down the piece that I trimmed off. 3 1/4 by 8 1/4, so that it's a little smaller, so that when I put it on my paper or on my card, I have a little space around it. And I'm not sure yet if I'm just going to if I'm going to use it on here and actually cut another piece of paper to be a little frame behind it. But you can see this will fit on a Slimline card, so they have a little bit of a boundary around it, a little bit of framing. And then what I'm going to start with is this, and yeah, I actually think I'm going to do something with it that All in Create does a lot, and I really like what they do. I'll show you what it is. The big thing was finding a stamping block that was big enough. This was the only one they had. This is a Prima stamping block, has a nice handle. If you do a lot of stamping, it's kind of a nice one for this. And what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to pull another piece of my cardstock out. This is my Kelly Paper cardstock, Spring Hill Digital. Okay, so I'm going to use my VersaFine Claire. This is my favorite stamp pad for this particular kind of stamp. It's my favorite in general, but it's a pigment ink, so it stays sticky, but it also picks up all that fine detail. Look at that. And stamps beautifully. So I'm going to stamp this one first on here. I'm not so worried about where it's going, because I'm going to use this as source material for this thing that I want to do. See what I mean? Look at that stamped image. Beautiful. Alright, and then I'm going to do it again, and this one I'm going to be a little more careful. I'm going to put it down exactly where I want it on the card. Now, I'm actually an imprecise enough artist that, for me, I probably should have stamped it and then cut it. I can see that I didn't quite get it. Let's get that in focus. Didn't quite get that in the middle. But, actually, maybe what I'll do now is cut around this one and use this as my source. That's an idea. Here we go. This is the whole point of live crafting, that you get to see the artist make revisions. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cutting this so that it ends up being centered. It's a little more exact, and now let me just trim up the top and the bottom so that they're not janky. I can see your comments, so if you're watching and have questions, just throw it in the comment box and I will see it. And then this I want to be 8 1/4. This means, oh my goodness, now it's being sticky. There we go. There we go. So now I have one that's a little more centered, more like what I wanted. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this is, let's see if we can get this focus in there a little better. As I'm going to take a minute and I have the packaging from my stamp. I'm just going to use that as a little palette surface. And I'm actually going to drop in a little bit of color. And I'm going to do it by using these Distress Oxide pads. You could use them if you have the reinkers, which is just a little jar of this paint in a jar. You can use that and just use them as you would like a gouache, like a watercolor. And I'm going to come in and pick up some of these floral elements of this one. And I'm not trying to do a beautiful job. I'm just coming in and adding a little poke of color. Let's see, a little more here. And this color is their Wilted Violet, his Wilted Violet, I should say. You can also use a distress marker that would work on this. This is the oxide, which means it's pigment. So let's see, any other florally colors? Okay, so that's that color. This is Peacock Feathers. I'm going to bring up a little color here with this. Let's see if I can get this more of this. So I'm going to pick up, I've got a nice pointy brush, and I'm going to, I don't have my glasses on, so hopefully I'm aiming this to the right spot. I'm just going to fill in her eyes there. And then I'm going to go into some color, just that one little spot down there. And maybe the 3, just to use it. Give that a little color. And I'm going to pull out just a teeny bit of this candy apple red of his. And I'm going to pull out her lips. Now if I got, I could get super painty in here and add all sorts of elements to this. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to, this was my source piece. I'm now going to do a little bit of precision cutting. And I'm going to cut some of these elements out and have them sit on my piece a little differently. I'm not so worried about getting square. I just want, you know, in fact, I'm maybe intentionally making them not square so that they stand off a little bit. And then before I do anything else with them, let's get two off. I'm going to take my VersaFine again, and I'm going to be aware that this is still probably a little wet, and so I want to be really careful, but I'm just going to edge it. So that I get a nice mixed media boundary on that. You can see that. And what's going to happen is I'm going to come in and layer these elements where I've used color in over elements where over the base. And I'm going to wipe my hands off in between because I am notorious for ruining things. So let's bring her in. And so again with the edging, edge, edge, edge. And the more you edge, the darker you get, the looser you are with it, the more of a dramatic edge you get with this. It's a common practice in art journaling and mixed media and stamping. But it is very wet, so I don't know if you can see how gleamy wet that is. So I'm going to set that aside, but you can see where that's going to go. And then let's see, let's do with my fingers just in case. And then I'm going to do one more because I have a little bit of color left that highlights this little poppy. And so that's going to go there. Ooh. No, there. Let me know if you have any questions about what I'm doing or want me to repeat a step. But what I'm going to do is hit these all with a heat gun so that they don't smear later. And set that ink. Edge this now, this whole big piece. And this is, it has to be said, is a nice juicy pad, so I'm getting a lot of like nice drippy, splattery looks to this, which is what I wanted. Alright, I'm going to dry this off a little bit. Blowing a heat gun on pigment ink helps set it and dry it properly, otherwise it can stay a little sticky. At the end of the demo, I will throw up all the links to these various stamps and materials. So if you're not sure what I've used, that'll be just when I finish up here, I'll do that. Okay, so now I've got this. And now I need my foam. Oh, paste to be prepared. I have double-sided tape and glue coming out my ears, but I don't see my foam dots. Hang tight, everybody. Alright, so sorry about that. Crafty foam tape is what I've got, literally what it's called, literally what it is. And I am going to cut up a few pieces to put behind. I like foam tape because, you know, depending on how much you cut off, you can decide on the, you know, you decide how long a piece you're going to use. That was still pretty wet. So I'm going to show you how this is done. I'm going to take this piece, get it off there we go. Put the crafty foam behind it, pull that off, and then what I'm going to do is come in and try as much as possible to exactly match where this would go on the card, which, let's see, looks like it's about there. Oh, sorry, that was out of frame. And I realized that I didn't cut this properly. Get this focus right. I'm going to trim this and it's a little more in line. There we go. So there's that first piece. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this. This one I'm going to cut several pieces of foam for. One there, one there. The backing on this is easy to get off, which is fortunate because sometimes I struggle with that. But now we have this, and I'm just going to line it up with where it matches on the page. Take a little eyeballing. There we go. You see how it's popping up off. Hey, Christy! Yes, it is. I love doing this. I love working with these stamps. I love doing this particular method with the pieces pulling off the top, and just it's just a nice way to add some mixed media interest to a card. And then the last piece. One goes up here. Okay. So I've got my bits in place. Here's my card. And then I think it actually still works. It actually works to put it on a white background because of the outlining I did. So I'm going to do that. Just worried about it still being a little smeary, so I'm going to put it down on this. And I'm going to cut several fairly large, long pieces of my foam to put across the back. do I have? So I've covered the back with several long pieces. I'm just going to pull that off. And then I'm just going to be really careful about where I stick this down, because I want it to be nice and centered. There we go. There it is, my Slimline card. I love actually the white background, the white and with the dark edging. I think it looks really good. I'm excited about that. So my first Slimline card demonstration. I've made things like this in the past, but not intentionally as a Slimline card. But just wanted to show you that just size-wise how fun they can be. I have a little bit of dead space up here, so I actually, one thing I did get into the studio, this is just an example, but maybe what I'll do is stamp out a word and put it up there. This is aluminum tape from an old-fashioned letter, label maker, which I'm not sure what I did with it. It was hanging around in my way for a while. Oh, here it is. So, look how fun that is. So maybe I'll come up with a word to put across the top. The bottom, it says, broken girls bloom as, I'm not sure what that means. Maybe that's ... bloom as, and it lets you fill in the blank. So, I don't know. What would you say to that? Thanks, Christy. Let's see. Blooming, take flight, burst forth. Might be. I'm going to make you sit here and watch me punch. U-R-S-T. Let's see where the space is. I don't know if there is a space. How do you do a space? Oh, barely. And then F-O-R-T-H. This is one of the tools that when people can come back to the studio will be here for you to use. It's one of those fun things I got off eBay. It came with the metal tape, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it was going to be a burst forth, it says. Let's see how this will fit. I'm usually not an offset kind of person, but maybe that's the way this should go down. And again, my lovely double-sided tape on the back. Hopefully it'll say, because this is metal. Burst forth, it says. Okay. Actually, I think that works. Burst forth. There we go. Anyway, just an idea. I'm not great at adding text to cards. I usually pick strange things to say. But there is my Slimline, upright Slimline card using the All and Create stamp. This stamp is number 201. They don't always have names, but let's see. This one is called Flower Girl, which that makes sense. If you notice, she's a girl with flowers. And wow, it took me how much? 25 minutes maybe to make this, and that's with showing you all what I'm doing. And yeah, quick and easy and very effective, as you can see. I really do love that it's on a black background like that. So that'll be in the shop for you to come and look at in person if you want to make an appointment. Alright, then let's see about doing one the other direction. Let's start from the beginning with my scoreboard again. Get all this out of the way. Okay, and with a new piece of card. So again, I'm going to start by cutting at 7 inches. so that when I fold it, I get 3.5. And I'm going to score it. I pulled off the score thingamajigger accidentally while I was fussing with it, so put this back in. Okay. Suggest you don't pull it out in the first place. Save yourself the hassle. Alright, find my 3.5. And actually this time, this paper is thick enough that I'm actually going to flip it over and score it on both sides so I get a nice even fold when I fold it. Because otherwise it tore just a little bit on the old one. This paper is not meant to be flexible particularly. Okay, so there's the base. And now I'm going to cut the piece that I'm going to stamp. And this one, so I want this one to be 3.25 by 8.25. I'm going to get that nice slim look that's so attractive about these cards. And I set this aside. So this card is all about, let's see, I'm going to wipe off my previous stamp. And put it back on its plastic. I'm going to pull out my other one. These are $13.99, if you were wondering. Alright, so this one, so this card is going to be horizontal. So I'm going to set it up. Now what's nice about this stamp block is that it actually has, might be a little hard to see just because I have not maintained this very well, but hopefully you can see that it has grid marks on the side and a ruler. So this is 4 inches wide. I actually want to work on the 3.5. So this is 3.5, that's exactly in the middle. And I want to make sure I have room for my text. Oops. Let's make sure it's the right way up in here. I'm almost dyslexic. So I think that that's all going to fit. Actually, I might move it down a little bit now that I see that I have a little room. There. So when I come to stamp my card, it should all fit nicely on there. Actually, let me move it up a little bit. So this is what's nice. I actually like the handle for this very moment where I get to, you know, use it a little bit like an easel. And I'm worried that I put that on upside down. Happy mess. Nope, just, I inadvertently stretched the stamp when I was pulling it. So, note to self, be more careful. Okay, so there's the stamp. I'm going to stamp it with the VersaFine, but then I'm going to switch to, I'm going to do some of the other elements the way I did with the, the outlining bit on the edges. I'm going to do it with a color this time to give it a little visual interest. So there it is, inked up, all that beautiful texture and detail. And I'll go straight down very carefully. Try not to rock it, which is one of the things that I do that pulls things up. There we go. That's nice. Good image. And let's see. So this one says, happiness blooms from within. That's a nice thought. And then this time I'm going to use a little bit of this yellow. And again, you just need something resistant. So I have a little piece of plastic from my from grabbing the tape, double-sided tape. And let's see if this shows up. Not much. Put a little bit down, but I think maybe I'll pull another color out and do more. Let's see what happens if I pull it straight from the pad. Get a little more color that way. You know, when you do that though, you are compromising the quality of your pad, so you worry about stuff like that. I would not do that way. Let's see, oxide. Okay, so I've got this crushed olive is one of my favorite colors. I'm going to use this to come in on the leaves and pull out some detail there. Look at all of these leaves. And I'm not painting, I'm splodging color down, so I'm not worried that I am missing the outlines. This is a way to add energy to your piece and also not worry about your painting skills. Just come in, throw down some color. Don't worry if it meets everything exactly right. I like this peacock color that I used in the other card. I'm going to pull some of this down. I used it in the other card. I think it's this color here. And let's see. Let's come in with a little more color on that one. And the yellow's still there, so it's still interacting. And so these colors act as a little bit of like a gouache, because gouache is a watercolor, behaves like a watercolor, but is, what's the word? Opaque, not transparent. And so you end up with a little, you can layer colors on top of each other in a way that you can't with watercolors when you do this. And let's see, I think I'm going to bring in some purple. I don't know if I used purple on the other one. And bring that into these little details up here. And of course, the range of colors with the distress oxides and the distress is enormous. So lots of choices, including this brand new color, Flamingo. If you're one of the people out there who really, really likes the mini stamp pads, I capitulated. I had so many people who wanted them that I have ordered them in. They come in sets of 4, so they should be here in the next week or so. So never fear, I heard you, they're on their way. You may have heard from me that I haven't had them in the past because there comes a point where I hold packaging against its product, and I found the lids of those little ones just don't stay on, and so I was not confident in them as a product, but a lot of you like them, so there we go. Let's see. I'm going to heat set that a little bit so I don't smear it. Those distressed oxides are pigment paints, so they sit on top and they stay a little sticky. Now remember too that they are water soluble, so if you get them wet, they will react. Hopefully that's enough, so I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to use a little white paper underneath it, so if I've accidentally gotten some ink everywhere, that it doesn't ruin it, which I do to myself all the time. And I'm going to put, you can see where the watercoloring I did, or the little painting I did, has affected, it's made it a little damp, so. Okay, there's it, and you can see what I mean. I had a little bit left over on there that wasn't dry, and it smeared a little bit. Fortunately, it didn't get all over everything. And now I'm just going to plunk it down on here. Hopefully I can do this in a way that is even. And there you go. Card number 2. There you go. Card number 2. And so those are the 2 Slimline cards using. This is the All and Create card. This one was or stamp card set 162. Bouquet border, so it was intended to be a border stamp. that way. And basically how I used it. So there we go. There's that stamp, and then there's that stamp. So you can see a couple of different looks in that Slimline, the Slimline dimensions, 3.5 by 8.5. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I am open for, sorry, I distracted myself because I got paint on the back, which I knew was going to happen. I should be more careful. I am open for appointments. You can make them by going to my events page at craftinessonline.com, or you can send me a message and I will put you down. But I welcome people in the shop again, so come on down if you want to. I'm sorry I can't show my face. I'm using FaceTime Live. It doesn't let me do that. But check me out on Friday for my art demo, my art journaling demo, and then at 1 o'clock I'm now doing product reveals, so you can see what's new in the shop. I have lots of boxes to open for you guys. All right, take care. Stay well. Bye.